Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Josie Duggar today passed away, losing their little daughter devastated Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar. It was a still, cold morning in Tanatown, Arkansas, one of those mornings where the silence feels heavier than usual, where even the wind seems to pause as if it senses something is terribly wrong. Inside the large Duggar family home, the atmosphere was unusually quiet. The house that once echoed with laughter, footsteps, and endless conversations now felt hollow. A shadow had fallen over the family, and every heartbeat echoed the same unbearable truth. Josie Duggar was gone. The Duggar family had faced many challenges before: public scandals, arguments, strained relationships, health scares, but nothing compared to this. Josie Brooklyn Duggar, the miracle baby born at 25 weeks, the tiny fighter who defied all odds, the bright, gentle soul who brought warmth into every room, had passed away unexpectedly in her sleep. And now, Jim Bob and Michelle stood at the heart of their home, clutching onto each other like two lost souls drifting in a storm they never imagined facing. This story follows the emotional, heartbreaking journey of the Duggar family as they attempt to process the unimaginable loss of their precious daughter. The morning everything changed, Michelle Duggar had always been an early riser. She liked soft mornings, the smell of fresh coffee, the quietness before the kids woke up, and the gentle breeze that drifted in through the kitchen windows. That morning, she woke up at 5:42 a.m., feeling an uneasiness she couldn't explain. She brushed her hair, tied her robe, and stepped out of her room. As she walked down the hallway, she glanced at the family photos lining the walls, years of birthdays, weddings, and babies. She paused for a moment when she reached Josie's picture. The tiny preemie with tubes in her nose, the baby who had fought for her first breath, the child who became the family's symbol of resilience. A soft pang of worry touched Michelle's heart. Maybe I should go check on her, she whispered to herself. Josie was 15 now, no longer the fragile baby of the NICU days, but Michelle still checked on her every morning. She walked toward Josie's room, expecting to find her daughter sleeping peacefully, maybe curled up with a book she had fallen asleep reading. But the moment Michelle opened the door, her world shattered. Josie lay still. Too still. Michelle felt her breath catch in her throat. A coldness spread through her chest. She rushed to Josie's side, touched her hand, and instantly felt the lifelessness. Josie? Sweetheart, Michelle whispered, her voice trembling. Wake up, please wake up. Her shaking fingers searched for a pulse, but there was nothing. Her tears began to fall before she even realized she was crying. Jim Bob, she screamed, her voice breaking through the quiet house. Within seconds, Jim Bob came running. The look on Michelle's face told him everything before she even spoke the words. And oh no, this can't be, he muttered as he knelt beside Josie. But it was true. Their miracle child, the one they prayed for, fought for, cherished, was gone. The house falls into silence. When the rest of the children heard their parents' cries, the house erupted into chaos. Sobs, questions, confusion. Every room filled with pain. Jana rushed to her mother's side, tears streaming uncontrollably. Jinger collapsed into Jeremy's arms when she heard the news over the phone. Joanna screamed when Austin told her. Jill sat on the floor shaking, unable to speak. Even Jessa, who always tried to stay composed, broke down uncontrollably when she heard her mother sobbing on the other end of the phone. For the first time in Duggar family history, the house had no structure, no routine, no stability. Only heartbreak. The investigations and the questions. Hours later, the coroner arrived. The paramedics confirmed the truth. Josie had suffered a sudden, severe neurological event during the night, most likely connected to complications from her premature birth years ago. It was painless and quick, they explained, offering comfort that felt empty compared to the magnitude of the loss. Jim Bob sat on the stairs, his face buried in his hands. How do I tell the world? He whispered to Michelle. How do I explain that our little girl, our miracle, is gone? Michelle leaned on his shoulder, her voice quiet and broken. We don't owe the world anything right now. We just need to breathe. 1 minute at a time, but even breathing felt impossible. Memories flood in. As the family gathered in the living room, each child began sharing memories of Josie. some through sobs, some through faint smiles, and some through long, painful silences. Jana remembered the day Josie came home from the hospital, tiny as a doll, wrapped in pink blankets. "She was so small I was afraid to even hold her," she said, wiping tears. "But she was so strong. Stronger than any of us knew." Jinger reminisced about how Josie always made handmade birthday cards for everyone, each with a personal note. "She had the most thoughtful heart," she whispered. Joanna remembered how Josie loved animals and would spend hours rescuing injured birds or feeding stray cats. Jedediah spoke about how Josie loved music, especially playing the piano in the evenings. And Michelle, she remembered everything. Every breath, every fight, every fear, every victory. "She was my miracle," Michelle whispered, her voice trembling. "God gave her to us once when we almost lost her. I never imagined he would take her away again." The world reacts as soon as the news leaked through a hospital worker, then a distant family friend. The internet exploded. Fans across the globe expressed shock, disbelief, and grief. Messages poured in. "Josie was the strongest Duggar. We watched her grow up. This is heartbreaking. She fought so hard to live." But for the Duggar family, those messages felt like distant echoes. They were lost in their own world of pain. Jim Bob's breakdown. Jim Bob Duggar had always been the backbone of the family. The leader, the protector, the one who kept everyone calm. But losing Josie broke him in a way no one had ever seen. He stood in her room for hours, touching her books, running his fingers over her drawings on the wall, holding the stuffed animal she slept with since childhood. He sat on her bed, head in his hands, mumbling prayers through choked breaths. "Why her?" he whispered. Why take her after everything she survived? Why now? He wanted answers. He wanted a reason. But there were none. When Michelle found him curled on Josie's bed, sobbing silently, she sat beside him and held his hand. They stayed like that, two grieving parents tethered by shared heartbreak. The sister's guilt, Jill, felt crushing guilt. She had distanced herself from the family in recent years, and though she still loved all her siblings dearly, she hadn't visited home in months. "I should have been here more," she cried to Derek. "I should have spent more time with her. I miss so much." Jessa felt guilty too. She had been overwhelmed with her own children and projects. "I should have called her more. I should have checked in on her." Even Jinger, far away in Los Angeles, felt the weight of grief pressing down on her. The girls gathered together through video calls first, then eventually flew home. They hugged tightly, cried endlessly, and held each other like they were holding on to the last pieces of their shattered hearts. The funeral preparations. Preparing a funeral for a child is something no parent should ever experience. Michelle broke down, choosing the dress Josie would wear. It was a soft pink dress Josie loved, the one she wore last Easter. Jim Bob struggled to write the obituary. Every word felt wrong. Every sentence felt like a goodbye he didn't want to say. The children worked together to choose photos for the memorial slideshow. Every picture was another stab to the heart. Her NICU photos, her first birthday, her first piano recital, her smiling with her siblings, her laughing in the backyard. Each memory brought both joy and agony. The funeral day. The funeral was held in the family's church, and it was packed. Not because of fame, but because Josie had touched so many hearts. The pastor spoke gently about her strength, her kindness, her miraculous life. He talked about how she defied medical predictions, how she was a living testament to hope, how her life, though short, was meaningful. Michelle could barely stand as she approached the podium. Her hands trembled. Her voice cracked. "She was my little fighter," she whispered. "My tiny miracle. My angel. I don't understand why God took her, but I trust that he is holding her now. I miss her. I miss her so much." Jim Bob stood beside her, placing a hand on her back as tears streamed down his face. "She was light," he said simply. "Pure light." The days after the funeral, the house felt emptier than ever. Each room reminded them of Josie. The family tried to return to normal routines, but nothing felt normal. Michelle struggled the most. She found herself wandering the house at night, touching Josie's belongings, sitting in her room, crying softly. Jim Bob took long walks alone, replaying memories in his mind. The siblings stayed close to each other, Some slept in the living room together just to avoid being alone in their grief. Everywhere they looked, Josie was there, in memories, in photographs, in the silence. Healing slowly, weeks passed. Then months. The pain didn't vanish, but it softened into something the family could carry. They began honoring Josie in small ways, planting a tree in the backyard, starting a charity project in her name, playing her favorite piano songs, sharing stories about her during family dinners. Michelle kept Josie's room exactly as it was. Not because she couldn't move on, but because she wanted to preserve the light her daughter brought into the world. A letter from Josie one afternoon while sorting through notebooks in Josie's room. Jana found something unexpected, a letter that Josie had written months earlier as part of a school assignment titled, "If something ever happens to me." The family gathered together as Michelle opened the letter with trembling hands. Inside, in Josie's neat handwriting, it said, "Please don't be sad for too long. I love everyone so much. If I'm not here someday, just remember that I am happy with Jesus, and I want you to smile again. And please take care of each other. That's all I ever want." The room filled with tears, but this time, not just from pain, from comfort, from peace, from the feeling that Josie was still with them. The final message: the Duggars would never be the same. Losing Josie was the most devastating moment of their lives. But slowly, they learned to breathe again, to live again, to love again. Josie's life, short but powerful, became a reminder to cherish every moment, every hug, every smile, every breath. And though she was no longer there physically, her presence remained woven into the heart of the family forever. Because some souls are too bright to ever fade, and Josie Duggar was one of them.